Thank you very much for coming in. I mean, I suppose I'm not even sure where to start, really.
Well, Harvey, why don't you start at the beginning and tell us how you came to pick up the phone and bring Conflict Masters in?
A grievance has landed on my desk at the beginning of this week. From our accounts team, there's been a couple of issues. A part-time member of staff has actually made quite a serious accusation towards her manager, suggesting that he's bullied her into working outside of her contracted hours. That's kind of the issue, and you know, I've had experience of employment tribunals, and really I want to make sure that's not going to happen again.
Harvey, what would you normally do, and what is it you think you might like to try this time?
Yeah, I mean, normally in this situation we would launch straight into an investigation, work out whether the grievance has any grounding. You know, I've had a chat with the manager Trevor, get his take on it. I haven't been able to speak to the complainant in a great deal of detail because she's actually off sick at the moment, so you know there's a bit of sensitivity there. She's also pregnant at the moment, so she's going to be going into maternity leave. So there's a few issues of sensitivity, and mediation is something that I know you guys are very strong with, and so that's something that I thought might be worth discussing to see if it's a more constructive approach rather than just going for the bare bones and the facts of who's at fault and what's gone wrong, just to kind of make sure that we can involve both parties, get both sides of the story, and resolve it so that everybody's happy.
Sue, good morning.
I was told to come up and see you straight away.
Yeah.
How was your weekend?
Yes, okay, thanks. Look, have you heard about Brian?
No.
Broken his leg.
No. Is he
so
okay?
he's off.
Well, how did you do that?
Oh, rugby. He's in hospital and he won't be in for several, possibly several weeks. So that we're
several weeks.
Sheila's phoned in and she's got food poisoning apparently, and so she won't be in.
Oh, you're kidding.
Great, isn't it?
This is not a good start to the week.
No, don't go there. I know. And it's the end of the month, and we've got the deadline as usual. And I wanted to ask you whether you would do some extra hours and whether you could possibly do Friday.
No, I can see that's a really stressful situation. Friday, you know, is my day with my son, so I can't do anything about Friday. But thinking about it, if I speak to my husband, I might be able to do some earlier starts. If he was to do a drop-off, I might be able to get here for. If the traffic's not bad, I could probably be in by 8:15.
Good.
If that's a help.
Yeah.
And maybe tomorrow night I could stay a bit later if that helps.
Right. Well, every little helps, as they say.
Friday, you know, I can't really do anything about because that's my only day with my son.
Yep,
and
I know that.
We
I
don't
know.
have any other childcare, so I can't do Friday.
Well, if you can at all do Friday, that would alleviate the problem quite a bit. I think we'd have a chance then. But if without those extra hours, the deadline really goes.
Okay. So shall I? Do you want to pop back?
Just let me know. Yeah, however you want to. But Friday will be a big hunk of time and will help us to get out of the hole we're in.
Okay, I'll pop back later.
Fine.
Then.
Thank you very much, Sue.
All right. See you later.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Sue?
Oh, hi, Trevor. Sorry, I was just about to pop down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you got some good news for me?
So yeah, I've just spoken to my husband. He's been in meetings all day. So the good news is I've managed to sort out on Tuesday and Thursday night I can stay a bit later because he can do the pickup. So,
right. Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah,
that
good.
hopefully that'll be a bit of a help.
Thank you. Yeah.
And the early mornings, if you wanted me to come in at sort of 8:15,
Terrific.
just get a bit of headway.
Brilliant. Thanks.
Would you? Is that helpful?
Yes,
of
course. Of course. Yes. No, I appreciate that. I mean, I kind of I was expecting that really.
Yeah.
Friday.
No, Friday's not shiftable, I'm afraid. That's, the day when... It's the only day I have with my son as well.
Well, yeah. I've got parts of accounts that are not shiftable for me,
No, I do understand that you're under a lot of pressure. I just, so, yeah, I can't do anything about that. But hopefully, I'm working really fast.
Can you do something about it? That's the thing, isn't it? It's childcare, isn't it?
Well, it's the only day I have with my son, and I can't.
Mother come over, or your mother-in-law,
No, I don't have any family in this area, so that's not an option.
Another day in nursery school.
No, honestly, I'm being. My situation. There's nothing I can do about Friday. That is.
Well.
What about Jane? I'm feeling a little bit like it's all coming
onto the new system.
I could teach her the new system quite quickly.
Well, just think how long it took you to learn the new system. Yeah?
Can I just be honest with you? I feel like you're putting a lot of pressure on me personally.
But we're all under pressure. I'm under pressure.
It's
a situation. It's not me.
It's not an option for me to not see my son all week.
Frankly, it's not an option for me not to meet the deadline,
I really feel like I've done everything I can do with extra hours.
Well, you might say that, but you haven't quite, because, I'm sure something could be arranged for Friday, but, the question is whether you're willing or not, isn't it?
Trevor, I just have to say, that's making me feel very uncomfortable.
Don't forget, 6 weeks' time, appraisals. Think about that one, yeah? I know, Oliver, I know. Yes, everybody who's left is working well, yes, of course they are. Yes, it would be the first deadline we've missed in 5 years, yes. But look, you know what the situation is. With 30%. Look, she's not contracted to do Friday, and no, I don't think she's being difficult. I just think she's. No, I'm not being difficult. Oliver, you have to be. Yes, Oliver, right. Yes. Okay, yep. Yep. I will go and speak to her again. Yep. Will we see you tomorrow, Sue? Will you be coming in tomorrow?
Trevor, we've talked about this. I can't come back in tomorrow.
Yeah, well, enjoy your nice long weekend then. Yeah, fine? Okay? See ya.
It's not a weekend. I'm looking after my son. I'm a mother. I have not seen my son all week.
We've all got responsibilities. We've all got responsibilities, Sue. Yeah, my responsibility is here. My responsibility is to this firm, to my team. Yeah?
I can't handle this.
Some of us take our responsibilities here.
This is really serious. Trevor, I think you're taking this a little bit too far, okay?
It's not me.
Done everything I can do here.
No, you haven't, Sue. You have not done everything you could do. You could have helped us out this week, this Friday, and you're doing nothing.
Trevor, this is really not like you. I'm going to have to do something about it.
That's the last time I stick my neck out for you. Anyway, have a nice weekend. See you. Bye.
I'm going to have to take this further.
I'm not interested.
As I explained on the phone, Trevor, this meeting now is an opportunity for me to really understand what's gone on from your perspective.
Yeah.
Now, this meeting and the mediation is a voluntary process, and I just do want to confirm with you that you are here of your own volition.
Of course, yeah.
And also, this is a confidential meeting. As you can see, I'm not taking any notes, and I'm not going to share anything that's said in this meeting with anyone else unless you specifically ask me to.
Okay, thank you.
So there's really 3 things I want to explore with you. The first is, what do you feel has happened that's led us to sitting down in mediation today?
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, what's been the impact of what's happened on you, and how are you feeling now about it?
Mm-hmm.
And thirdly, what do you see as the way forward?
Right.
So they're the three areas I want to explore. So perhaps we could start with the first. What do you see has happened that's led us to sitting down here today?
Oh, well, we had a very important deadline, and we were 2 members of the team down. We're quite a small team, so 2 members, very unusual. But if it's 2 members, it's like a third of the team was kind of out of action. Sue was the only part-timer on the team, and as such was the one who could give us most hours, I suppose.
Trevor, what's been the impact of what's happened on you?
Well, I haven't slept very well since the whole thing kicked off. I mean, you know, in the week of that we were doing the audit thing, I didn't expect to sleep much anyway, but yeah, it's kind of gone on from there. Well, being tired, it's affected my work. I'm snappy at home. And the biggest thing, I suppose, really, because of all those things, I'm not really able to concentrate, so I don't really feel as I'm being very effective in any respect. Actually, I was going to say in my work, but it's not just, you know, being effective as an employee. It's I'm not being effective as a, you know, husband or father either. So it's actually been pretty rough, really.
So Sue, where I want to move now is to really understand how this has been affecting you and how you're feeling about what's happened now.
Yeah, quite badly. I left work that day and I felt like I'd been really pushed out the building. I've been crying a lot. I mean, I know I'm pregnant, but, you know, I've been crying more than usual. I just felt incredibly intimidated and bullied by Trevor over that day, over those few days. And it's just made me feel very scared to come back to work.
And what do you think, if you put yourself in Trevor's shoes, how do you think Trevor is feeling about this?
Yeah, I mean, I understand he's under extraordinary pressure, and, you know, I like Trevor very much. We've always worked well together. It was very unusual for him to behave like that, in my experience. So obviously something has happened to kind of push him to that extreme, and yes, there was a kind of sizable challenge on his plate, but I just still don't feel that would justify him behaving like that to me personally, because I've just felt he really crossed a line, and that nobody should be treated like that at work.
If we're going to look forward, what would be the best resolution for you coming out of this afternoon?
It's difficult, because I'd like for things to go back to normal, but at the moment, with how I'm feeling right now, I don't feel like I could just walk straight back to my office and carry on as if nothing had happened. I feel like I want him to apologise and to acknowledge that was wrong.
And why would an apology be important to you?
Because for me that would be a signal that was his responsibility, that behaviour was wrong, that he overstepped the mark, that there wasn't anything else I could do, that he was asking me to go above and beyond what is in my contract. You know, I'm a working mother, I have to balance that commitment, that I can't just give up seeing my son because of a crisis at the workplace. That's just not possible for me, and I'd expect him to understand that. So I think if he was to apologise, it would make me feel safer, because I'd know that he would never ask me to do that again.
So what do you see as the way forward from here?
Yeah, to know that he's sorry for that behaviour, that was wrong. And I feel like I need some acknowledgement that I do work really hard, and I was giving him loads of other options to help out the crisis and coming in early and staying late, and I'd like some acknowledgement of that. I think there are plenty of people that would just, look at their watch at 5 o'clock and say, I'm out of here. I wasn't doing that. I mean, he just made me feel like the sort of employee that I'm not, that I was just going to go to Spain for the weekend or something like that. That wasn't the reality. I need him to I need to hear that he's got a very clear understanding of my reality.
So you've explained to me really well what's happened from your perspective. How do you feel about telling Trevor what you've told me?
I don't know. And I do feel very emotional about it. I haven't seen him since I left work that day. I'm still quite angry and upset. So I don't know, emotions might do all sorts of other things. I can try.
Do you think there's anything I could do to support you or help you to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe just being there will mean that I know that we're each going to get a fair crack at the whip and make sure that each person is heard.
Okay, well I can certainly do that. What I'm going to ask you to do to start this mediation going is to explain to each other those 3 areas we examined this morning. So what you feel has brought us to the point that we're sitting in mediation today. What's been the impact of what's happened on each of you, and what you see as the way forward. Trevor, having met you first this morning, I'm just going to ask Sue if you'll go first today. And just explain in about 5 minutes those 3 areas.
We've never had a problem like this before, and this is why it was so out of the blue and extreme. I've only been here 9 months, and he made me very welcome. I had an excellent induction. Was always felt very approachable, popping in and out of each other's offices. We had a good staff summer party.
Did you see any strengths in Trevor?
Yeah, I only saw strength. Always understood my life-work balance, and was happy to look at photos of my little boy if he was in the mood. And so I didn't have any problems.
Trevor, hearing that, how does that make you feel?
Pretty terrible, really. Very generous, really, of Sue to say so.
Okay, Trevor, you said you'd like it to go back to how it was. How did you see that it was working between you and Sue? And again, what did you see as Sue's strengths?
Oh, Sue's smashing. Really.
Oh, Sue.
Well, you know very well. You're very good at your job, and you always have been. I've always thought very highly of you. I mean, I always did. You know, you were my preferred candidate when we were interviewing, and so, you know, I suppose something that was going on in the back of my mind was the fact that we did advertise for a full-time post, and I stuck my neck out for you because I thought that you would be great.
And that I think feels like the crux of the problem, that it has felt like you've really resented that arrangement, but I couldn't tell through that whole explosion that kind of resentment that had been bubbling about my being part-time. I think 4 days a week is a bit more than part-time, and especially the way I work feels more than that.
I suppose it's that the investment, my personal investment was kind of
So Trevor, can you sum up how you were feeling on the Thursday
Thursday.
as Sue was leaving the office?
Well, there's such a lot going on, really. I knew that we wouldn't get the work done, and indeed we didn't. I worked through till Saturday morning to try to get the figures together to be able to send them to Tokyo in time. But in actual fact, the deal went through without the figures being complete. So it was kind of all stupid in the end anyway.
So it didn't jeopardise that deal?
In the end, no. But that was what I was getting from Oliver, you see. So, and I felt that the whole future of the firm was on my shoulders.
That's quite a big statement. You felt that the whole future of the firm was on your shoulders. Where was that pressure coming from?
The deal with Tokyo was the only deal on the table for us. If that hadn't gone through, the firm would have been looking into a black hole, a real black hole.
Okay.
And there would have been redundancies. And in actual fact, Sue would have been one of the first, which is not that's nothing to do with it. Again, it's not something I would have told anybody at all, but that would have been the fact, because actually she's one of the who hasn't been here very long. So.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we try and achieve through mediation is that you understand where each other came from at the time that this happened. How far do you think you've got from that?
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that must have been incredibly challenging for you, and I wouldn't have liked to have been in your shoes on those few days, and knowing Oliver a little bit, I dread to think what his kind of extreme pressure behaviour is like.
But I shouldn't have passed it on. That's just, it was just kind of stupid to let it get to me. Sometimes you need to stand up to him. Actually, he likes it better when you do, frankly.
You think I should have done that to you then?
Well, you did pretty well, actually.
I don't think I did. Got in my car and started crying. That's not particularly tough.
Okay, so if you were to be back in a situation where there was pressure on either one of you, and you needed to communicate with the other about it, what is it you would ask from the other as to how you were spoken to?
I think a bit of time out, really, so that the volcano doesn't overflow. And I wonder if on those days, if you just stepped back a little bit and taken a breath and heard how you were speaking to me, that maybe we could have diffused it a bit, because I couldn't get a word in. I mean, it was so aggressive and rude, and there were lots of other comments on top of the Friday issue that implied that I was a slow learner, a slow worker, that I wasn't pulling my weight. There are a lot of other things that came out, I think, because of your anger. Well, you made a reference when I offered to train Jane up on the new system, and you said, well, you look how long it took you to learn, and there was an implication that I was kind of failing in all aspects of my work.
No, well, that certainly wasn't the intention of that. I mean, I know I take all other things you're saying, on the chin, but that wasn't the intention there at all.
No, but that's the point. I think that you could only see your challenge, and it was impossible in that kind of red cloud for you to see how that felt for me to be on the receiving end of that.
Is there anything you'd ask of Sue if you were back in a situation with some serious pressure again?
I suppose it would be useful I mean, I could just do it, I suppose. I mean, it's just talking people through how important things are, but then that is quite difficult because obviously we were dealing with quite a sensitive situation, and you know, as soon as people know how important a deal is, for example, you know, that's if that gets round, that in itself can be quite damaging. So I don't know.
I think if you'd asked me differently, I might have been able to do something about Friday, but I think it became so aggressive and personal and angry that it then felt impossible for me to just give in to that, because I felt like I was being blackmailed. You threatened me about an appraisal coming up.
I thought it might make you think. I thought it might make you change your mind, I guess, because
it did the opposite, because that was the trigger then for me. The one thing that would allow me to move forward would be an assurance that I would never be at risk of being spoken to like that again at work.
And Sue, is there something you think you could offer?
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly offer to wipe the slate and move forward positively and openly, and to carry on as we were, and would not bear a grudge, and I'd like to feel that we could just, you know, put this behind us.
No, that was all I would want, really, and of course I will. You know, I do apologise for the way I handled things, and no, I would never. I don't think I would ever fall into the trap again.
And how can Trevor give you that assurance in a way that meets the need you've just expressed?
Well, he's just apologised, and that means a lot to me. And said that he would hope that wouldn't happen again. I mean, my fear is what if it does? And what do I do if we find ourselves in this situation again? Is there a safety button I can press that would bring us back to this point of understanding?
Well, I don't think I don't think I would fall into it again. Not to say we won't be under stressful conditions, because obviously we will. But well, in actual fact, I mean, the one thing I have learned from the whole process is, you know, you can miss a deadline and actually the world doesn't fall apart around your ears. I guess on this occasion we just lost a bit of perspective about that, but it seemed important at the time.
Is there anything either of you feel that you haven't said, but it is important to say to each other before we finish?
I kind of admired your sticking to your guns. Sue has gained a little respect from me for that. And I've never told you this before, and I don't want it to go to your head, but you are actually the best member of the team, and I knew you would be, and that's why you got the job in the first place, albeit on 4 days a week.
Yeah, I mean, it's very nice to hear that, because I felt like Trevor had lost respect for me because of me needing to honour my duty as a mother, and that's the most important thing I needed to hear, is that you realise that is sometimes more important than work, and well, it is more important than work. and I appreciate that you've entered into this discussion so openly and positively.
And I think what I want to say to both of you is thank you. You know, thank you for being so open with each other, and for the part you've taken in today's meeting. And I think finally, sometimes people ask me to feed something back to the organisation at the end of a mediation, and I'm interested to know if there's anything that you would agree that you wanted fed back as a result of what we've been talking through the last few hours.
Well, I suppose it opens up a whole list of things that you could feed back to the organisation, because there is a cultural issue, which we've all known for many years has existed, you know, the question is that the firm needs to answer, and needs to answer in the right way. Is does this kind of testosterone-driven culture actually is it the best way of running the business? The temptation will be to say yes as a knee-jerk reaction, but in actual fact, maybe not.
So to close, thank you both very much. I remind you that obviously this is confidential, so whilst you can talk about the process and your experience of it, what actually has been said in this mediation is the part that is confidential to the three of us.
Well, it was very interesting in retrospect. I mean, it was quite hard, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah.
Truly useful.
It was,
because
yeah.
it put things back to where they were.
Things have been opened up a lot more.
Yeah, that's true.
And I know much more about the pressures that you have, so that gives me more insight into, you know, the challenges that you face, and then I'm able to support that better.
One of the things that I took away from it was that you could see, you saw the people's relationships in a completely different way, and I remember thinking, you know, oh, there's a situation developing there, but I'll be able to, you know, maybe if I say something at the right time, you know, can diffuse that thing. I find I just become more open with people and just tell people more things about more that's going on, so that people have a bigger picture.
Yeah. No, it's certainly been interesting.
I think you quite enjoy now coming into my office and just kind of chatting about what's going on from your perspective, and I can then have more insight into that, and you ask much more about what I'm doing, and it just means that we are able to, you know, see it from the other person's perspective much more easily.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I don't know whether I'll ever see things quite from Oliver's perspective, but
I don't think anyone will.